ladies and gentlemen, you do have a vocab quiz 21 through 30 tomorrow. You do have a test, 25 questions, all multiple choice. I'm telling you right now, I'm already behind in content. I am probably going to post my PowerPoint tomorrow afternoon for your test on Thursday. I've been genuinely shocked by how little you know about this. It's not a commentary on your intelligence. I just fundamentally don't understand. But here we are. Okay. Here we go. So, economic systems, ladies and gentlemen, is your heading. That's where we're going to start. The first one is going to be a market economy. What is an alternative name for market economy? Just add it to the bottom. What's an alternative name for a market economy? You're writing down this definition, by the way. We have it here in the United States. Caesar. Capitalism. Capitalism is another alternative name to a market economy. Okay, now if you decide to study econ or finance in college, you will notice there is a difference between capitalism and a market economy. But for everything you need in high school, they're essentially in the same column. Is everyone clear? Okay? When you go to college and you decide to study a history, there are nuances in the history you are learning to be more specific. Same thing with chemistry, same thing in everything else. Here we go. A market economy is an economic system in which the individuals and corporations, not the government, because there's no government intrusion in capitalism. And what vocab term is that? Laissez-faire. Yes. Okay. To own the principal means of production. Okay. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to finish writing it down, and then I'm going to have to teach you what the means of production are. What are the means of production, Nick? No. What are the means of production? My upperclassmen, let's go. Come on now. Jake, aren't you an upperclassman? Sophomore? Emerson, are you over? Shit. I need you people to wear like damn signs or something. David, you're an upper, aren't you? Yeah, what's the means of production? You should have learned about it in A Push. You should have learned about it in World History, Honors, or AP, A Push, or U.S. History. What are they?
The means of production.
Yeah.
The reason why you're making
No. Okay, can you just give your desk over because I'm going to be right here and you really don't want me in your business. Okay, write this down, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know that a market economy is also known as capitalism. For all intents and purposes, that's what we need to know. You need to know the primary examples are U.S., France, England, and Japan. It's right here, my love. Market is capitalism. It's U.S., France, England, and Japan. Okay. Means of production. Write it down. Means of production or factors of production. It's the same exact thing. It's just written in two different ways, and you need to know both terms. You have the means of production or the factors of production. It literally means the same thing, so make sure you understand both. Okay? So, when we talk about the means of production, let's keep it simple, stupid. Okay? When you talk about it, there are three categories of means of production. The first one is land, labor, and capital. Okay, so you can either refer to it as the means of production or the factors of production. I prefer factors of production. In case you care what my preference is. I'm a factors of production kind of girl. Here we go. Land, labor, and capital. You need to know that all of these make all of our goods. Okay, these are the foundation of how all of our goods get made. Land, labor, and capital. We could literally look at your sweatshirt, your shoes, your house, your mixer on the counter, your like baking mixer, and do land, labor, and capital. We're going to practice with a flower box here in a second. Okay, so land are natural resources. Okay, if they're natural resources, it must come from the ground. So what are some examples of natural resources, Ian? Oil, yes, that's a good one. What's another one, Jordan? Iron ore. What's another one, Alex?
Wood.
Wood, absolutely. How about water? Anything that comes from the land, actually comes from the earth, is going to be land. Labor is what, Alice?
Labor is like you like do the work, or it's like
Who's doing the work? It is a simple, don't make it harder. Who is doing the work? You're completely correct. People. It's people. It's people. Yeah. Simple, stupid. It's people. Okay? People. Simple, stupid here. Capital. What is capital? Capital is the hardest part. It's what now? Desmond.
Resources able to invest.
I don't like resources because technically all these are resources. You need to invest? No. Because you're getting a little tricky here. Grant. Okay, it is money. Capital are tools or cash to actually create / build / make. Okay? So, what would be an example? Capital, just an abstract one, would be an example of tool. Don't tell me cash. I know cash. I have cash. What's an example of a tool, Nick? No. Factories are literally just the structure of it. Give me something. Give me a better example of capital. You're not wrong, but you're not right. So give me a better example. Conveyor belt is a great answer. I know you're passionate about conveyor belts, but I like it. Conveyor belts. Brennan, what's another example of a tool?
Machine.
Don't tell me a machine. Give me an example of a machine.
Crane.
A crane is a great answer. Absolutely. Give me another example, Ford. Oh, hell yeah. When we were driving to daycare, when I was driving to Hank's school this morning, we saw a dump truck, and my kid lost his damn mind. It also scared the hell out of us because it hit a bump as it was driving by us. So Hank screamed, like, ah, because it was really loud. And then, like, yeah, dump truck. And he was, anyway, okay. So, land, labor, capital. Every single thing is in part of every single one of our goods. Now, on my Christmas list, I want a raised flower bed. I actually like to grow plants, which you shouldn't be that surprised since I have a bunch of plants outside my room, yes? I like plants. I just moved into a house, so I want a raised bed so I can grow like some vegetables. Because right now I just have stupid dumb flowering plants, and now I'd like some real like fruits and vegetables. I'd like to have a tomato garden. I'd like to have some lettuces. Those are the easy vegetables to start with. So, on my Christmas list, I said I want my husband to build me a flower box. So, what is my land? Making sure we got it. What is our land, Emerson? What are some natural resources that come from the earth that are required to make a flower box? Grass? Girl, I'm talking about flower box. Why do I want grass? That's a lawn. Soil. That's a good answer. Grass? Emerson, have you ever seen a flower box with grass in it? That means your box has been dying, girl. Sophia? Seeds. I'll take that all day. What else we got? Brick.
Like the wood.
Yeah, I need the wood. The wood comes from nature. Absolutely. Okay, what is my labor? Who is the labor? It's my husband because it's my Christmas gift and damn it, he's going to build it. I ain't doing shit. I'm going to sit there and judge it. And it better be cute. Capital. What do we got? What is the capital? Caesar?
Like a saw.
Yeah, I need a saw. I actually have a hand saw. I bought it a couple weeks ago, and I'm the only one who uses it because my husband, he doesn't do chores outside. Exactly. Jack, I saw the face, and I agree with the face. He doesn't do chores outside. No, we pay someone to do the lawn. I already do all the weeding. I do all the rocks. I do all the mulching. I take care of all the plants. He does all the cooking. Hashtag feminine. What do you got, Grant?
A hammer.
Yes, we need a hammer. However, as you may have heard, my husband doesn't like doing it outdoors long so what does he probably have? No, he would hire someone to do it. He has a power drill. Yeah, we need some nails here. Hello, do we understand how this all works? No matter what you choose, you can do this for every single thing. Every part of our economy is based on it. This is the foundation of everything. Okay, listen, that is low level. Let's bring it up. Okay, in a market economy, who controls the factors of production? The people. Okay, so who owns the land? People do. So to buy the land, you have to give money to another individual, not a government. So people are making money both ways off land. Is everyone clear? If you need wood, you're paying another company made of people, not a corporation or the government. Is everyone clear? Okay, labor. Here in the United States, you get to choose where you work. We have a say in what we do. That is how we control labor. Is everyone clear? If you're in a toxic work environment, you quit. Labor. Capital. How does capital work in a capitalist society? What do we think? Brooklyn.
Buy your stuff from other people.
You do buy your stuff from other people, absolutely. Small businesses and other corporations. But what else? How do we get our money? Alex.
Investments?
So investments you can, but most of your investments, if you're going to pull it out to make flower boxes for a living, Alex, you're really passionate about flower boxes. How are you going to get the money to start your business?
Somebody job?
That's sweet. That's sweet. No, you go to a bank and get a loan, right? Banks give money to individuals. If we were in a command economy, which we're going to talk about in 2 seconds, does banks give money to individuals or only to government-approved loans? Government-approved loans. So when we talk about a market economy, everything is based on the people. Is everyone clear? Everyone has access to these things as long as you can own them. We'll play with that game another. Okay. Your next market system, Brennan, remember we talked about that engagement? Let's be better, yeah? Is a command economy. Write it down. A command economy, ladies and gentlemen, is an economic system where the government makes all decisions about wages, prices, and production. Believe me, this is not something I'm supposed to be teaching you. You're supposed to have already learned this. Have you heard anything about this? Yes? Why don't you know these answers then? Okay, alright, yeah. So if you're a senior and you don't know this is terrifying. Okay, here we go. In a command economy, we're still dealing with the factors of production. So, who owns all the land in a command economy? Government. So if you wanted to start a factory, our boy Nick back here is very passionate about factories and conveyor belts. If he wants to build a factory, he has to own land. That land, he has to buy it from the government. So the government has to approve of him owning land. Okay, labor. The government sets a minimum wage. You have to get approvals from the government to hire people and pay them a certain wage, okay? And then capital. All of the tools and all of, essentially, your interest rates and all of your financial donations are controlled by the government. You have to apply to the government to get a loan in order to start a business. So who controls everything in a command economy? So if the government controls everything, what is a nickname for a command economy? Because we don't call them command. What do we call them? They're not communists. No, if you're calling it communist, you are totally wrong. And I wanted you to say communist. No, it's not. No, absolutely not. Okay. A command economy is socialism. Write it down. It's socialism. Communism is not a thing. Oh my God, Miss Bennett, but there's countries who call themselves communist because they're liars. They're liars. Do you think Russia during the Soviet Union were a communist? Hell no. Because do you know what communist really is? You should. You should. Do we know? Sort of. Yes. Okay. Okay, let's transition to over here. Karl Marx. Write it down. You need this. Because you should know this. The fact that you called socialist, and get up and take a photo of it, David, and sit back down and write it down. Get up, take a photo of it, sit back down. Okay, Karl Marx. He writes the notes, David. Get up from your seat. Yes, dude. Take a photo of this. This is what I'm telling you. Okay, David, you do you. The Communist Manifesto was written by, it's actually in 48. I Googled it. That was kind of good. Okay, what is happening in 1848 in Europe? What is happening? What is the big thing happening? All my AP World kids better know because I literally haven't stopped talking about it in 3 weeks. The Industrial Revolution is happening. Are we at the beginning of it or in the middle of it? The middle of it. So is life good or really hard? Yeah, literally, I told you today we're literally burning gasoline. Okay, life sucks in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, and that's when he writes this book. Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto, 1848. It's in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. If you don't know that, you better write it down because that gives you context. Okay? If you could go back in time period and be a person living in history, would you want to live during the Industrial Revolution? No. Hell no. It is a terrible time, especially to be an average citizen. Okay. Karl Marx writes this because living conditions are absolute shit. And he thought the people of Europe were going to rebel, specifically Germany, in case you couldn't figure that out by Karl Marx. That's German. Okay. He believed the first stage of his argument was that capitalism, which is what the German economy is, will fail because of the bourgeoisie. That's not how you spell bourgeoisie, but it's something like it, so don't joke. Okay? So, capitalism will fail because the bourgeoisie, or working class, will overthrow factories. So people are working in these hellholes of factories that are incredibly dangerous. There's no protections. Okay? During the Industrial Revolution, if you lost your hand in a machine, like a spinning jenny or a power loom, you should know these terms. Do we know these terms? Okay. Well, yes, you do. Okay? If you lost your hands, you would have to pay your employer for getting blood on their textiles. And then you would lose your job because you don't have a hand. Does this sound like a good time? No, it's terrible. You would work 16, 15 hours a day. It's really terrible. So, he believed capitalism will fail because the bourgeoisie, or the working class, would overthrow factories, literally killing the factory owners because of the horrible conditions and the terrible things they do to them. Life in Europe is really terrible. He thought that people were going to get fed up enough that they were going to burn the place down. Okay? So, he believed that capitalism would fall to what we have called socialist state. He believed that the factory owners would overthrow the factory workers would overthrow the factory owners and create a beautiful system of socialism where the government that they are going to create, which will last between 200 and 500 years by his prediction, where the government makes sure everything is equally distributed. So if the factory makes $1 million a year in profit, then every single employee gets their share. If it makes $1 million in profits and there's 100 employees, how much does everyone get? $100,000, right? Isn't that how it works? Yeah? Oh, I don't know. Don't ask me. Okay, I take it back. I was trying to do math. I don't want to do math. I don't want to do math. I can't do math. I take it back. So, in a socialist state, everything gets divided up equally and the government ensures. Who is the most important part of a socialist state? The government. The government. Who's the most important in a command economy? Government. After 200 to 500 years, Marx believes communism. I wiped it off by accident on my back, sorry. Communism will exist. Is this supposed to be a quick transition or a slow transition from capitalism to communism? Guys, we've only been around for 270 something years. Okay? And they're saying the transition from capitalism to communism is 200 to 500 years. Okay, so this is a slow transition. So he believes communism would transition after socialism. After a long period of having socialism, we would transition to communism. Communism has no government. It has no government because the people have been trained or have learned, okay, to share all and live in equality. And they don't need an outside source of how to treat each other equally. Everything works because everyone's genuinely invested in their neighbor. Now, I don't care what political background you come from. Can we all agree that's a beautiful vision, communism? Everyone is completely eating at the same table. Everyone is benefiting from all the same stuff. It's a really beautiful dream. Do you think it could ever happen?
No.
Hell no. I don't think it can happen at all because I think human nature is to be competitive, and to be competitive is to want something you can't have, and that causes competition, and la-di-da, there's no such thing as sharing. Okay, so Karl Marx believes capitalism will fall, socialism will rise, and after a hell of a long time, socialism will transition to communism where everyone lives in peace and no government. Ladies and gentlemen, has there ever been a state in the world, a country, where there is no government? No. Communism has never existed. So when the Chinese or the Russians or the Koreans call themselves communists, they're liars. What are they actually?
Socialists.
They're socialists. They're socialists. Okay? Why are they socialists, Grant?
They're socialists because
Who's in complete control of everything?
government.
There you go. There you go. So, why would people call themselves communists if they're not actually communists, Katie? It sounds better. Okay, we can all agree. The idea of communism, everyone's equal, everyone eats at the same table, everyone benefits, everyone's doing great. Sounds really beautiful, and it's better than saying, I have all the power. Right? So that's why people call themselves communists. Are we good? Okay. So, I don't need you to know much about communism, but the fact that's the transition of the foundation of all these belief systems for the systems that live, that cover the economic foundation of today. So, has a communist government ever existed? Or an economy? No. So we don't study it. But we do study a mixed economy, and you do need to know that. What's that?
I was wondering about the concept then, because what does it mean?
Oh, it's just kind of a joke. So the beauty of capitalism is that if you transition to socialism, people make more money. It's just like, okay, with marijuana, legalized marijuana in like states like California, who gets to control who gets to sell marijuana? The state does. The state controls. You have to actually apply to the state of California or Nevada or Oregon in order to get your license. And they only have so many licenses. So who's getting the license? Yeah, filthy, filthy rich people are getting these licenses. Now people like Black America, okay, has been in marijuana business since the early time. During runaway slaves, they were in this trade. How many black licenses do you think Black Americans have in California and Nevada? Out of 400 and something licensed to sell in Nevada and California, which are the two largest markets for marijuana, how many black licenses do you think they have?
2.
They do. They actually have 2. There's 2. There's 2. That seem like an equal system? No. Do you know who's making all the money? Yeah, really, 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 really rich people are making all the money who are entering this field for the first time because they can. And they're cornering the market and they're controlling all the licenses. Okay. All right. A mixed economy. Now, a mixed economy is a mix between a market and socialist. Write that down. That's what we're talking about when we say a mixed economy. I taught you about communism, but it's never existed, so we don't have any practical application of it, yes? So when people are like, oh my God, they're a communist. Are they a communist? No, they're probably a... There you go. So correct them. I'm sure it's going to go real well for you. Okay. A mixed economy is typically, write this down, when the government is an authoritarian government. Keep in mind, I'm not supposed to teach you with the word authoritarian. That's not my content. Do we know what authoritarian means? Oh, what is it, Ian? Yes, every aspect of life. Would be a country today, 2022, that is an authoritarian regime. North Korea, what's another country that is a perfect example of an authoritarian regime? Russia is a great answer, yeah. Are you kidding me? There are men from 18 to 35 who are running to the borders trying to get the hell out of Russia right now. That's an authoritarian regime if I've ever heard one. What else we got? China is also another major one. So, how do you have a mixed economy? You have an authoritarian regime that uses capitalistic or market principles. A mixed economy is when the government has significant say in the economy. Now, we have already talked about, Nick, okay, is the United States a capitalist economy?
Yeah.
Are we a pure capitalist economy? Why not? What term? You're not Nick. What term? Laissez-faire, which means what in French? Let it be, hands off, either or is fine. Okay? We are not a pure capitalist economy, but we are not one that has an authoritarian regime. The United States is not authoritarian. In a week from tomorrow, we're going to prove it because we vote, yes? And we're either going to vote people in or we're going to vote people out. Who the hell knows at this point? It is chaos of who's going to win because there's so many elections that are neck and neck right now. It is wild. Are we excited? I'm excited. I can't wait for it to be over. Aren't you tired of waiting? Let's just figure out how this goes and we can all take a big breath and move forward. Here we go. Perfect example of this. The only real example I want you to have for a mixed economy is going to be China. China is the best example. Someone was like, well, isn't the United States a mixed economy because our government does have supports involved? No, because we're not an authoritarian regime and we're not interjecting. China, you have to get approval from the government, and once you get that approval, then you have free market control. It's a lot more stipulations than we have here in the United States. Okay, none of that is what I was supposed to teach you. You were supposed to know that. Did we know that? Cool. Here we go. Now, this is something I'm supposed to teach you. So, depending on what economy you're in, there are three major measures that we use for measuring the economy. Okay, your next heading is measuring the economy. How can we tell if the economy is doing well? There are three ways. First of all, unemployment. Ladies and gentlemen, you should know this because we all lived through the pandemic. Can we agree? They were constantly telling you how the United States was doing via our unemployment numbers. We got up to 15% unemployment. 15.9% unemployment. Okay, that's insane. Does anyone know what the unemployment rate during the Great Depression was? 28%. So we were within pretty close to the Great Depression during this time period, which is insane. That's pretty damn high. Can we agree? So, unemployment. Do we know what inflation is? Who can explain to me in a simple way what inflation is? Because I've taken for granted that you know this term, and someone very plainly said this, but I have no idea what inflation is. Do you know what inflation is? Alright, I'm glad we're having this conversation. Who can explain to me in a very dumbed down, simple, Bennett, you're an idiot, this is what inflation is. Emily.
Basically when things become like more expensive, so the value of like money.
Okay, whoa, you're scaring me with your words. Simple, stupid.
Things cost more money.
Okay, I need a little bit more clarity on that. Katie? Money loses its value, I'll stick with that. Okay, write that down. Write inflation. Because your life is harder because of inflation. We know this, right? There's less potato chips in your Frito bags because there is inflation. They literally took 5 chips out of your Dorito bags for every single bag because it's saving the company $50 million. $5 every single bag pulling out 5 chips. Can you believe that? Isn't that insane? So you're literally, okay. Before I spur off into the craziness that has caused inflation, let's talk about what inflation is. Okay. I love McDonald's. I do. I love it. I can't remember the last time I was there. Are you judging me, Emerson? Was that the answer you expected? I thought she was like choking on the idea of McDonald's. I love McDonald's. Are you judging? Do you like McDonald's or you hate it? You can hate it. It's fine. What's your favorite like fast food? You're a Chick-fil-A person? Okay. What is your favorite go-to place? Oh my God, Emerson, you have to have an opinion on something. Here we go. Okay. At McDonald's, there's a $1 menu. Yes? Okay. You used to pull up. Used to be order your little burger with cheese for $1. Okay. Now you roll up to McDonald's and you order the same exact thing, get the same amount of portion of food, and how much are you paying? Now you're paying $1.57 for the same amount of food. For the same amount of food, you're paying more. That's inflation. And it's on every single thing we have. Inflation, write this down, is caused by more money in circulation than is backed by the government. So, now, this is a very old school method of how we used to cut down inflation. Okay, we all know Fort Knox, yes? Have we heard of it? You're built like, it's built like Fort Knox. It's because it has all of our gold reserves, okay? Underneath, like Google Fort Knox, the shit's insane with all like the gold that we have in there. Essentially, we used to have a gold standard. It gets rid of it in the 1930s. We go to the silver standard, and we go. Essentially, all the gold at Fort Knox was used to reinforce our paper bills. So if you took a $100 bill and go to the bank and say, I want $100 worth of gold, what would they give you? $100 worth of gold, because our money represents gold, because all of our money is backed up by gold. Now we have a silver standard. It's a little more complicated than that. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, when we have inflation, so say we have $100 billion worth of gold, we should only have $100 billion worth of cash floating around the United States. If we have $200 billion floating around in cash, but we only have $100 billion worth of gold, what happens? Our money has become less valuable. So to buy a cheeseburger instead of $1, it's now $1.50. To buy a loaf of bread, it used to be $2.50, and now it's $4.15. You're getting the same products at higher prices because the money is worth less. Okay? And that's what inflation is, and that's what's affecting us right now. When you pay for a gallon of gas, you still get a gallon, but you're paying significantly more for a gallon. What do you got, Brooklyn? Do you have a question, darling?
Does it happen because they're printing?
Okay, why do we have plenty of money floating in circulation? You were alive for this. You weren't getting them. Your parents were getting them on your behalf. Grant.
Stimulus checks.
Stimulus checks. During the pandemic, the government was paying us to stay home to help keep our lights on, yes? So they're printing currency, printing these checks. Do you think the government had all that money just sitting around? No. So it was a gamble. Keep people home, keep the economy going, or allow a complete economic crisis. It was a gamble. Okay? So they started printing. We knew inflation was coming, and we're handling it better. Here in the United States, okay? We're handling it better than other places, okay? England is a hot damn mess right now. They're at almost 15%. No, they're at 11.6% inflation right now. We're doing better than a lot of other places. Are we doing great? No, absolutely not. But we're doing better than a lot of other places. What do you got? By the way, you need consumer index price. What do you got?
China be the next economy because it suffers much from inflation?
Yeah, every country in the world suffers from inflation, and we always have inflation. There is always inflation. There's always inflation. There's always inflation because there's multiple things that affect inflation. I'm keeping it simple, stupid, because I'm not an economist. I am not in finance. I'm a really cute accountant so I didn't have to do like finance. Oh God, no, he's a partner at a CPA firm. Okay, the Consumer Price Index, ladies and gentlemen, is the key measure of inflation determined by the price of fixed goods in our economy. So, when we're talking about the Consumer Price Index, right, Emerson? We're talking about goods that you and your family buy. How much is a loaf of bread? How much is 12 eggs? How much is a gallon of milk? Okay? If you look at any like TV show, like Today's Show, Good Morning America, they always talk about Consumer Index because it's more approachable. Last year, do you know how much a pound of butter is right now? It is almost $6. It is almost $6 for a pound of butter. It's a pound of butter. It's not that much. It's like your little cubes in the fridge. You know how you get like you get 4 sticks? That's a pound of butter. Yeah. It's almost $6. No, that is not a pound. A pound of butter is literally 4 sticks. You people need to start baking. Bye. Bye, Emily. Have a nice day, girl. Thanks for your help. Bye, Jack. Bye, Grant. Bye. Bye, Jake. Goodbye, Nick.